Hello, good day, good day, good day. It's so good to be here with you today, and thank you for joining us. I am excited to be here with Pastor Leslie today.
Yes, it's an honor to be here.
So I know this is different. Normally, it's real talks with Miss Brenda, and as I explained in January, that we, knowing that Mom had such passion when she started her podcast, and we didn't want it to end, and we have become really passionate in the past couple of months to really to anything that Mom had started, we do not want to end. So we decided that we wanted to keep this going. So instead of real talks with Miss Brenda, I didn't think real talk about Miss Brenda would be appropriate. So we decided to do the legacy continues, and it's it's her. Our desire and hope is that as we encourage through what's being done at the Lovelady Center, and as we share what's happening, and that as we're launching what Mom has started, but it's not just about her legacy, but it's about the legacy that every day, everything that we do is with the intent of making an impact, making a difference, and where our legacy will continue beyond once we're gone. And so for today and here, the way that Mom got caught up or got started in her podcast was because Pastor Leslie was knowing that Mom had a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, and her personality is a little hard to a little hard to capture because she was just so full of life and stuff.
Yes,
but
she was.
for sure. And so when Pastor Leslie is the one who encouraged Mom to start the podcast, and
4 years.
it took you 4 years to talk her into
No,
it.
like many years.
Many years. Oh, 4 years.
Many years.
Okay.
Yes, I can tell you that I just felt like that her voice needed to be captured and heard. We obviously got the benefit of hearing her all the time here at the Lovelady Center. But, for her to be able to have her own podcast, for her to share her story of what all God had done over the years was just, I knew it needed to happen. And I'm so glad we were able to capture, almost a year
Yeah.
of podcasts. And, just the last one just finished airing just last week. And so it's definitely legacy.
For sure. And so when you were saying, so knowing that you had promoted and you had encouraged and talked Mom into it, and the thing that and to see the success that I felt that it brought, not just for now that we have her voice, we have those stories, but then
Right.
all the stories that we got to hear, and the voices as Mom would hear what God has done, and
Yeah.
how it motivated, encouraged Mom so much, is all the women or the family or the people who've taken part in the ministry over the years, or the lives that have been transformed. What a impact and difference I just loved how Mom was fueled by it. And so
Yeah.
if Mom's fueled by it, I think that we all can be fueled by
Well,
it.
there's a chapter in Psalms where it says about God that he is the voice of many waters. And to be honest with you, when the podcast started, I just thought it was going to be all about Miss Brenda. But as each episode that she did, it become more real that she always fought for other people to have a
Amen.
voice. And it didn't matter if it was the people on staff or the ladies that were coming into the program that just needed somebody to fight for them. And as I watched it unfold, I was just amazed at how many people that she was able to bring together um for a greater purpose, and
Amen.
rallied people together. And everybody felt like they had a part. I mean, she just was someone that fought, but she fought for other people. And I am definitely one of those people that was impacted, and I feel like I've been able to have a voice
Amen.
because of her. I know you do as well.
Absolutely.
And just to hear all the stories, and it seems like that is our legacy, right? It's like
Right.
we're giving hope to the hopeless and a voice to those who don't have it. So I'm excited about so many that are still yet to come and be able to highlight other stories of people's lives that have been changed at the Lovelady Center.
Absolutely. Me too. I cannot wait. I'm excited about what's to come. I know that, and I don't. This again, it's not just about mom's story, but it's about the stories that have been transformed and the lives that have been changed. And though we will definitely highlight mom's legacy,
Of
and because
course.
that's especially for the next little while, which is again why I asked Pastor Leslie to join us today, because you you brought mom on your podcast first, and I think that's
Yeah,
what ignited mom
that's right.
to say, okay, I can do this, I can, and she was so excited about it. And I'll tell y'all, we were actually recording because mom got when she, how she doesn't do anything just a little bit, she does it big. So
All in.
I had wanted to do a video series for our the new ladies that come into the program so they can hear consistent messaging, and you had told me about a man that could probably help us and to
Yeah,
make our videos. And I had reached out to Rodney, our camera guy.
that's right.
And mom's like, well, you can't mess with Rodney, he's mine, he's my podcast guy, he's my podcast guy. And so she was like, I was like, well, mom, he can do more than just one thing. And so then she actually was like, well, then if he's going to be able to do that, then we're just going to open a podcast room downstairs in the education department in the basement at the Lovelady Center. So this is actually, we're recording this downstairs in the basement
Yeah.
of the Lovelady Center. Again, that's something that mom, she started it, and she had a little bit to do with the design, because
Yes, she did.
I think this table and things that she had picked out, we never actually were able to record before she passed. So this was
Yeah.
something that mom started, and us being able to record down here now is just again another way of, okay, mom, what you started, we're going to keep doing. And so
Mm,
I'm excited, and when I say I'm excited, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet
yeah.
because but I'm just grateful that that just as mom, if you knew her, she frequently said, we don't give up around here. um
No.
we still don't give up around here.
I know, and that's really, just being able to be in this room and to see the legacy move forward. And, we're just excited about, being able to highlight these stories. I mean, we got some really good ideas, some things that, we're going to bring relevant stories. And so this is the best time to get, be a part of this, join us for this journey. We're going to be going live on Sundays at 3 o'clock on the Lovelady page. And then we're still connected with BGTV. That's still going every Monday night at 8:30. So this is happening. We'll air. We're here to see God just do amazing things. So we want you guys to be a part of that with us.
Absolutely.
And when I think about the legacy and just thinking about, for me, this journey that we're on, Melinda, one of the things that Miss Brenda loved to do was the water baptisms.
Yes.
And all through these years, that was one thing she
She never
was
wanted to miss.
never wanted to miss.
She liked to tell people, I'll let Melinda do the graduations,
Yes,
but I'm doing the baptism. She acted like I took the graduations from her, which we all know that you could never take anything away from
of
mom.
course,
That wasn't the case. But that was her plea, because yeah, baptisms was her favorite. And I have a feeling I know where you're going with this.
well, she went to be with the Lord December
18.
18th. And we always do an annual, we baptize throughout the year, but one of our biggest ones is the New Year's Eve service.
Yes.
And it was bittersweet because, going into that, um, you know, everything that went around the whole month, and, just the grace and the strength that God has put on us to continue going forward. And that night was so special. As you stepped in and we saw almost 100 ladies, I think it was 93 or so, 94, all these ladies that came up and gave their life, just to make a public profession, and to know that the legacy continues and that lives are still being transformed at the Lovelady Center, and that we get to carry that torch. It's just such an
It's
honor.
beautiful. I know. for me that
Mm.
night, as we baptized, I went in, and this is confession time, and I know that y'all are my people, so I can confess here. I know I went into New Year's Eve, um, not doubtful at all, because I know that it's God, that I know always know that it was God that carried mom, and that would carry me. But then, that little thing, like, Lord, is your presence still going to be, or is your presence still here?
Mm.
And I had some anxiety. I think
Yeah.
that would be fair to say.
Yeah.
And and I was like, well, Lord, this is all you. It's not me. I just want it to be you. Just you move. And as we baptized that night, and I just was like, Lord, this is all you. And then, as some of the, like, I remember a couple of women coming up, and they're like, whoa. I mean, like, you could really feel the presence of the Lord. And
Yeah.
I was just so, like I knew, like, Lord, you're with us. You've not abandoned us. You've not forsaken us. You are in this with us. And that the legacy will continue.
Yeah.
That his legacy will continue,
That's
saving
right.
lives, transforming lives. And it was just, for me, that night was just it. Now, when I got in my car and I realized that I did it without mom, that was pretty tough. And I remember I just wept for a while in the car, but I was like, God, you're so faithful. You're in it.
He
You're in
really
it. Yeah,
is.
for sure. So that was a night that, for me, that the Lord said, I'm with you.
Yeah, and he definitely is. She was just a pioneer,
Hmm.
and she would go places and do things and start things, and I think that's why, this last endeavor, this last year, she just became so passionate about the podcast and making sure these stories get told. And then, like you said, her, just coming down here and laying her whirlwind style and shift things into place, and then boom, it just happened so quickly. And it was like she was just saying, I'm I'm opening this up for you to keep going in this new direction. Like, it was never about just getting settled with what we had. She was always pushing the
Yeah.
envelope, trying to do something different, something more. She talked about prison reform a lot this last year. She feels like there's some things that need to happen
Hmm.
in for prisoners, and so she's just such a reformer, such a pioneer, and it gives us room to dream,
Right.
and gives us room to go forward.
Well, and for not just, for me, like, one thing that motivates me about, continuing this, because I'm not a camera girl, not really, the whole
Yeah,
live thing,
yeah,
but we've, because of it, what I saw come from it was, um, encouragement for our grads,
yeah.
encouragement for the girls that have once come, and which is, a lot of times when I'm speaking, I feel like I'm speaking to my people. I'm speaking to our graduates. I'm speaking
Yes,
to,
you are.
and that's what motivates me for this. But then, also, for, and I know for mom, was reaching those we haven't reached yet, and
Yeah,
and that and to share that there is hope, and that your life can transform, and it can be everything that God created you to be, that no one's stuck, and that we can get out of that cycle.
yeah,
So, I think there's a lot of great things that we can and will accomplish through this. I know for us, one thing that, we started doing is our services, our Sunday morning services live. Yeah.
yes.
So
And our
that,
Wednesday
and Wednesday
services.
night services are
Yes.
live. All our grads, and again, when I say grads, any lady that calls themselves Lovelady, whether they've graduated or not, log on. Let's you can see what the Lord is doing at the Lovelady Center, and plus, He can speak to you through these different tools that we're going to be
Yeah.
utilizing now. So I'm very excited. But when we talk about legacy, and I know that, you've had, just, we think of strong legacy, what we leave behind.
Yeah.
And I know one person that you always talk about, that you felt like the
Yeah.
Lord, how the Lord helped develop you and
Yeah.
use you, was your grandfather.
Absolutely. And he,
So share a little bit about that.
well,
Just when we're talking about legacy, what does that look like for you?
well, my grandfather poured into my life, mentored me. Was right underneath him. Rodney knew him well and knew him well, and he he poured everything into me, as I see kind of how Miss Brenda was with you, I understand that being, that next generation that, is carrying what God poured out through them to me. And I'll just say this one thing about my grandfather. The the day before he passed away, he asked me to come to his bedside, and he says, "Son, I want to pray for you one more time," just like that. And he told me these words. He says, "Son, I have run my race." He says, "Now it's time for you to run your race." And he laid his hands on me and he blessed me and he blessed me and he blessed me. And I felt the weight of that. All everything, all the times that I just served him, I was honoring him. I was there with him through so many battles, and he was always taking the lead. And knowing that all that was about to shift was a little bit heavy and a little bit weighty at first, because I didn't feel like I could fill his shoes, to be honest with you.
I can
And
relate.
I felt, and just to be honest, that first month, I felt it was hard because I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do. But little did I know that God was setting the stage for me to come to the Lovelady Center just months after that prayer.
So you came after your grandfather. So your
Yes,
grandfather ministered here before you did.
he did.
Okay,
He
okay,
did.
okay.
Because my mom came here in
I
2008.
remember your mom being here for
And
some reason.
so,
I
and that
yeah.
kind of opened the door for my
Okay,
grandfather to come. And
okay.
then then of course I knew about it. And but it was, God helped put people in my life to encourage me to keep running. And it was my time. And
Mm.
so, I took a step of faith and, was invited to come speak at the Lovelady Center. And, during that window, and this is how I tell the story, is that as after I spoke here at the Lovelady Center, Miss Brenda saw me at the second floor desk, and I had a conversation that I'll never forget because Miss Brenda, she said, "I enjoyed what you said," and she said, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "I'm in full-time ministry, but I really wasn't working anywhere. I wasn't on a church staff. God had just told me to step out in faith and that he would open doors."
Right.
And she says, "So what do you do?" I said, "I just do the next thing that God asked me to do." And she says, "Okay, but what do you do for a living?" I was like, "God takes care of me." And she was hearing, and I'm just being honest with you, she heard crazy faith because I had stepped out 4 months earlier. I had left my previous business and got rid of everything, and I was really living by faith. And in that time of just living by faith, I encountered Miss Brenda, and Miss Brenda said to me, "Would you, like, after talking to her, she says, "That's interesting." She says, "Would you ever consider coming here and being our pastor?" And like resume, everything just happened. Miss Brenda did not waste time
No, she did
when
not.
it came
Yeah.
to putting people into place that she thought was a good fit. She was,
Wherever she
um,
felt like the Lord directed.
yeah,
Yeah, she moved on. Clearly, she moved on that quickly.
she did. And
Uh,
so I went home and prayed and talked to my wife and said what happened. And we came back and met her in her office, and the rest is
yeah,
14 years
yes,
of history
yeah,
since then. And so I when I hear all of her faith stories, her crazy faith stories, I get it. I
yeah.
understand it. And but I know that it was my grandfather that poured into me, that gave me the tools and the time that I needed to grow up and become a man that could be a good representative for him.
So that so that makes me want to encourage and ask our listeners and the people that are listening right now, who is mentoring you? Who are you looking? Who is leading you
Mm,
closer to Jesus? Who's, many. over the years, if you've been at the Lovelady Center, you frequently heard Mom speak of who sowed into
Yeah.
her life, and her spiritual mentor, which was Joe Medina,
Yeah.
and ironically, he passed away on February 3rd,
Yeah.
and and the difference having that person, having you having your grandfather,
Yeah.
and then and me having Mom, and thank God that that God's put other people in our lives
Yeah.
to help us, to, but we have to have somebody
You really do.
that we can go to, that we just be careful who you connect with, be careful who you're looking to, be careful who's
Mm.
blessing you, be careful who's directing you, um,
Yeah.
because it impacts the legacy that you're building
That's
today. Would
right.
you?
I agree, and that's really, that's how the whole thing is set up where, one generation blesses the next generation, and that's what he said in Malachi that, God would turn the hearts of fathers and mothers back to the sons and daughters, and he would break the curse and establish the blessing. And it's not easy to humble yourself and let somebody pour into you and literally be like a spiritual father or mother to you, but it's the greatest thing that you can ever do. And I'll never,
Yeah,
look
it's.
back over those 15 years with my grandfather
I can see where you say it's not easy, but at the same time, um, it's so much easier.
than
It's
trying
so
to
much
do it
easier
on
on
your
your
own.
own. Sweet Jesus. Yeah.
Yes.
I know that you've heard me, plead. I've called people and say, look, I need some spiritual mentor people in my life right now. I've got some, I've got some voids,
Yeah.
I've got some holes, and not, and, even though I have wonderful prayer warriors here
Yeah. Yeah.
that the Lovelady Center that will sow into me and feed me, but then at the same time, people that aren't quite so close,
Yeah.
so, I know I need that in my life, and so, we all do.
Well,
We all
that's
do.
what I think, the beauty of the Love Lady program
Mhm.
where is a discipleship
Yep.
program. And I tell people that this is not something you need to graduate from, you need to graduate to. And you need to begin to build the infrastructure of people around you that can pour into your life, that you don't need to be out there on an island by yourself. You need a support group, you need a sponsor or a mentor or a pastor. You need somebody that you can open up, and that's exactly what we try to drive home to all those that God sends to us, is to come under that authority and come under that kind of structure because it's safe.
Yeah.
There's safety when you have other
It's
people
somebody
that
that
are
will
watching
call
out of
you
you.
out. I know Joe Medina would call Mom out in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. I know, I'm sure your grandfather would call you out, and my mom would call me out in front of all y'all.
Yes, she
She wouldn't
would.
think twice about it, and she would let me call her out. It's just we need that. We need those people in
We
our life
really
for
do.
sure. So, anyway, we're gonna have a good time.
I think it's going to be
Yeah,
amazing. And
yeah,
anytime you need my help or anything, I just want to be a part, and this is something that, you know, my heart's desire was for Miss Brenda, for her voice to continue. And really well, I won't say this again, her desire was for other people's voice to be heard. As strong as a person she was, every podcast, one after the other, it was another person that she kept highlighting, and it just unfolded in front of me. I was like, wow, that person's life was changed because of what Miss Brenda did.
yeah. So her voice will continue. Through the podcast that started, we got to hear her voice for a while, but her voice will continue, and we will
Yes.
continue to hear the stories and the lives of those who have been impacted. We're gonna You're gonna over the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna have some family come on and
Oh
share
my
for a little
gosh.
bit, and then I've asked Joe Medina's daughter to come as we talk about building that legacy and what's next.
Wow.
So we're gonna have a good time. So and then I've got some graduates that I've said, hey, I need some graduates to come share their stories,
It's
and
gonna be
so I've had a
amazing.
few come, and so we've got some great plans and great things happening. Do join us. Please
Please.
join us. And on BGTV, that when this airs every Monday
Monday
nights
night,
at
8:30.
8:30. Be sure to watch it. And then also a lot of the teachers, a lot of the instructors that you got to see at the Lovelady Center, they have podcasts on BGTV. So check it out. Watch
I've
what
got a podcast on there.
we've got to
Absolutely.
hear him lots, haven't we?
Thursday night, 7:30, Birmingham
Hey,
Avenue.
shameless plug. All right, no, that's what we're doing. We want them to know it. We want them to know that
Yeah.
there's resources. You're not alone. We are in it with you, and that is why we are doing this. It's because we want you to know we are in it with you, and we want to share. We want you to build that legacy that you can be proud to leave behind.
Amen.
Love you so much.
Awesome. God bless you.